So welcome to the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Steve Van Meter, your senior minister, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here this morning. And we're going to start with a little bit of music. So Chip and Bucky, let's have it.
Let's do a rainbow chant.
We're going to do the rainbow chant, and we'll include some rising up. Opening up in sweet surrender in the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening, and we are rising up like a phoenix from the fire. Brothers and sisters, spread your wings far higher. Rising up like a phoenix from the fire. Brothers and sisters, spread your wings far higher. We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up, and we are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening. 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 And also with the theme of coming on through and seeing the light, we have this song. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone, and I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. And here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue sky. Looking around, there's nothing but blue sky. I can see clearly now. All obstacles in my way. One of the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny
Well, thank you so much, Chip and Bucky, for that beautiful opening music. And thank you for being here this morning. Welcome to the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living. We're so glad that you've joined us this morning. I know you probably have a lot of different places you can be, but you're here. You found us. This is the place to be, and welcome. And as we do every Sunday morning, we're going to recite our vision mission statement that's coming up on the screen. There it is. And it says that we are an open, loving, spiritual community dedicated to evolving consciousness through teaching spiritual principles. Well, we have some announcements this morning. So our board president practitioner, Paula Peterson, let's have it. Thanks, Paula.
Thank you, Reverend Steve. Good morning to everyone. So today is a very important day. We have our annual members meeting at noon, and it is the same Zoom link as this one. So if you want to, after the service, go get a snack and then come back on, that would be great. I really look forward to hearing you and thanking you for supporting our center in this very important way. Spiritual economics is going to be taught by Sherry Davis. It's an 8-week course starting Monday, October 4th through November 22nd from 3 to 6 p.m. For more information, contact Sherry herself or check on our e-news for more details. Our meditation continues Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with the room opening at 8:45. And the meditation is from 9 till 9:15. It's a wonderful time to commune and start your day. And now please join Chip and Bucky as we sing, "We Are One."
We are one. We are one. I am you, you are me. We are one. And in this unity, we shall live in harmony as peace has come, as we are one. We are one. We are one. I am you, you are me. We are one. And in this unity, we shall live in harmony as peace has come, as we are one.
Good morning. Welcome to the Grants Pass Center of Spiritual Living. I'm Janet Moray, and I am your virtual podium practitioner today. And I'm a bit tongue-tied, apparently. Kim Bebo will be holding the high watch and knowing that all is good and all is perfect. And if you are in need of prayer, we invite you to go to the website and put a prayer request in, and we will pray for you for an entire week. Speaking of prayer, let's read the prayer together. It will be up on your screen in a moment. Or maybe not. There we go. I am a spiritual being having a human experience, and I know each step I take brings me toward an expanded consciousness. Life is a beautiful journey. And now Chip and Bucky will lead us in I Am Loved. The love of God is in my life. I am loved. Thank you. So, we've been talking a whole lot about spirituality and rising up and evolving and consciousness. So, I decided I'm going to go back to 101 and we're going to talk a little bit about spirituality and consciousness. And then I'm going to share a message with you from Reverend Sorensen, Christian Sorensen. So people ask, what is the true meaning of spirituality? Well, there are tons and tons and tons of ways of expressing it. If you go on Google, you could spend your lifetime just reading what everybody has to say. But basically, spirituality involves the recognition of a feeling or a sense of belief that there is something greater than myself, something more to being human than sensory experience. And that greater whole of which we are part of is cosmic or divine in nature. An opening of the heart is an essential aspect of true spirituality. Spiritual evolution, which I'm going to be speaking about in a moment, is the path to a meaningful life. The more issues we resolve, the more we evolve spiritually. The more peaceful, caring, and conscious we become, and the more we contribute to the good of the world. What I'm going to read next is from Reverend Sorensen, as I mentioned, and it's called Emotional Spirituality. He has a little inspiration every day, and that's what led me, he's calling it evolutionary spirituality, and that's what led me to really get a better, deeper meaning of these terms as they tend to float there. All of life is evolving and has been for 14 billion years. There is an inner impulsion and guidance that universally evolves all of creation. Each new evolutionary thrust contains which came before it. I think it should have been that which came before it, while at the same time creating something wholly new. The evolutionary process is the unfolding of God as it expresses its own infinite nature through an infinitely evolving creation. The wisdom and intelligence of the universe is the divine infinite reality showing up as creation. In this process, life emerges out of life, capital L, always growing, always expanding, exploring, and expressing more of itself. Your life, in all its growth and evolution, is part of the process. You are designed to evolve spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Explore the areas of your life where you are evolving. And then he asks, is there a place where you might be stuck? So we're going to take a moment to kind of ponder that in our minds. If it's comfortable for you to close your eyes, please do that. And if you're not stuck at all, well, that's wonderful. And just ponder how you're evolving, how life is changing for you in a spiritual way. And I will call you back into the room. And now I invite you gently and peacefully, calmly, to come back into the room. And we're going to have some special music with Bucky and Chip. And then we will hear some words in Stephen's talk, probably following on this same path, but it's always wonderful to keep hearing about this process that we're going through as beings. Thank you.
Well, think of the prayer we said this morning, and there couldn't be a better introduction than the picture of the mountains and the prayer of taking a step each time. Who knows what tomorrow brings? In a world where few hearts survive, all I know is the way I feel. When it's real, I keep it alive. The road is long. There are mountains in our way, but we climb them step every day. Lord, lift us somewhere we belong, where the eagles cry on a mountain high. Love, lift us up where we belong, far from the world we know, where the clear winds blow. Some hang on to used to be, with their lives looking behind. All we have is here and now. All our lives have to find. The road climb them steps every day. Love lift us up where we belong, where the eagles cry on a mountain high. Love lift us up where we belong, far from the world we know, where the clear winds blow. Time goes by, no time to cry, just you and I, alive today. So love lift us up where we belong, where the eagles cry on the mountain high. Love lift us up where we belong, far from the world we know, where the clear winds blow.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you, Chip and Bucky. That was perfect. Perfect segue into my talk this morning. Well, again, welcome to the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Steve Van Meter, your senior minister. And our September theme is Reaching Higher. And today's talk title is And Still I Rise. Now, the talk title is derived from a poem, a classic poem by Maya Angelou called Still I Rise, and is the namesake for this week's theme. And though it is written in response to a specific cultural experience, like all great poetry, it articulates universal truth. The refrain of Still I Rise is the heartbeat of truth, proclaiming that there is within each one of us that which is unstoppable, inexhaustible, inextinguishable, and unchangeable. That which we call God, spirit, divine intelligence, source energy, that in which we live, move, and have our being. That which rises in us, as us, can never be oppressed. Like a tender sprig of green pushing up through the concrete sidewalk, life rises within us always, no matter what the appearance. So I'd like to read you Maya Angelou's poem at this time, so you know the context of my talk and where the title came from. And if you're not familiar with Maya Angelou, I encourage you to look her up, because she is a wonderful metaphysician who relates closely to our movement. So here is her poem, Still I Rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room, just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I rise. Do you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't take it awful hard, because I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds that are meeting in my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. From the past that rooted in pain I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Again, that was Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You know, in August, we spent time resting and rejuvenating ourselves and readying ourselves for the next ascent on our journey to the mountaintop. We begin that ascent this month, reaching higher towards a greater understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe, pushing past our comfort zones, using our understanding in innovative ways to advance us forward, while including and benefiting from the wisdom and experience that we've gained along the way. We rise in consciousness. You know, in spite of the discomfort of any obstacles, we are preserved and we rise. Perhaps what is in the way is the way. Again, perhaps what you believe is in the way is the way. And that we rise not in spite of our challenges and discomforts, but because of them. There is that within us that continues to call us forward and upward on our journey of continuous awakening. It calls us to a greater understanding of ourselves, our relationship with the capital S self, and our role and purpose in this thing called life. I always like to refer to our global heart vision from Centers for Spiritual Living. We envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought, a world where every person discovers their own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. Yes, awakening to our spiritual magnificence. Doesn't always feel that way, I know. But after the dust settles and we rise, we can see a quiet growth in grace and character. We believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in humankind, and that all people are incarnations of that one Spirit. There's only one of us here. Source energy expressing as you and me and as the countless life forms that exist in this plane of existence. We believe that the kingdom of heaven is within us and that we experience this kingdom to the degree that we become conscious of it. So here we are in the middle of awakening, in the middle of rising up. You know, do you ever want to hit the snooze bar one more time, 5 more minutes, Mom, please. 5 more minutes. Wow. Discovering the creative power of thought. We are surrounded by a creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. So I ask you, what are you thinking? Are you dwelling on worry and the challenge? Or are you rising in consciousness to what the solution is? In Dr. Ernest Holmes' book, Living Without Fear, on page 71, he writes, there is an energy in thought, not because we wish it to be so, but because it is so. Definite and specific thinking draws this energy through our conscious desires and makes manifest these desires at the level of our comprehension of good. Again, that was Living Without Fear by Ernest Holmes on page 71. So what is your level of comprehension? And this isn't to call anybody out. This is just to identify where we are in consciousness. Do you feel like the victim of your circumstances? Or are you the right person at the right place at the right time to change your mind about what's happening and look at how you are being morphed into a higher consciousness because of what you're walking through? You know, freedom from what we do not want and our emergence into a life that is more complete with all those things which contribute to the welfare of happiness of ourselves and to others would seem to depend on to what extent we are able to consciously control, guide, and direct our thinking. You know, you may say in the middle of a situation, well, I couldn't help but get upset. If it had happened to you, you'd get upset too. But then we're being controlled by the conditions. We need to admit that something's going on, but not be so affected by it that we lash out because of our own inner hurting. Maybe we take it into consciousness and say, that doesn't affect me. That's where they are in consciousness. And I'm adding this energy to my tool belt. So let's talk for a second about our individual ability to create a life that works, the ability to create a world that works for everyone. You know, it sounds almost counterintuitive. How can the world work for everyone when everyone has a different idea? If we will just listen to each other a second longer and understand where somebody's coming from, we might have a better talking point to relate to one another. Probably the greatest single determining factor of our experience in living is what we think. This is truly the only thing we have control over. And it is because of changing our thinking that we can change our experience. You know, we think that changing our experience will change our thinking, and that's just backwards. It can work that way, but usually we change our thinking first. We don't change the blueprint after we built the house. Sometimes we do, but it's best to follow the blueprint and let it guide where you would like to go. This is what we teach. Whether it be a matter of health, supply, wealth, happiness, success, harmonious relationships, or any other aspect of our life, in and behind it is this creative and causative power of our thought. We only rise when we are looking to rise. If we stay in the status quo, life says, okay, I'll bring you more status quo. And we stay where we are. We believe the ultimate goal of life is to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this good is sure to be attained by all. Eventually, don't you want to just hit the fast forward button on your experience? But if we do, we may miss the gift of the wisdom that what we're walking through is bringing to us. So maybe we fall silent, take a step back, and just respond with love. In our Science of Mind textbook on page 434, Dr. Holmes writes, "I know there is a power for good, which is responding to me and bringing into my experience everything that is necessary to my unfoldment. This power for good uses every part of my human experience, the joyous and the challenging, the pleasure and the pain, to guide me into deeper awareness and knowingness of itself as me. In God, nothing is wasted. All of my life experiences are used by the power of good, enabling me to help others and to bless the whole world." And that was Dr. Ernest Holmes in the Science of Mind textbook, page 434. If you'd like to look it up. It's a great book. Ernest Holmes also wrote that there is an inner urge in our own minds to grow, to expand, to break down the barriers of previously limited ideas, and to ever widen our experience. This persistent urge is a divine influence, an irresistible force, and constitutes the greatest impulse in human experience. If it was otherwise, this little planet of ours would have burned up a long time ago by so many of us worrying and being challenged by each other. But nothing is wasted. What humans mean for challenge, the divine means for good. Nothing is wasted. We know there is a divine intelligence, a creative power back of all things that operates in and through as our most perfection. Nothing is wasted. All is used for good. And in this context, then, we face life's joys and challenges with equanimity, knowing all of our experiences are used by Spirit in service to our greater unfoldment. So that which was most devastating produces the texture and uniqueness in the work of art that is us. That which is felt undurable became the crucible that blasted away the small self, giving way to the greater, capital S self. That which was unbearable ushers forth the light that shines through you, serving as a holy beacon of and as you. I think all of us can look back at our biggest challenges in life now that we've walked through them and see that they have brought something that could only have been brought through that experience for whatever reason. I would like to think that things were a little easier at times or weren't such a conflict of interest. But for whatever reason, they're set up this way for us to have this particular experience. So if we can stop wrestling life and the way it is enough, all of a sudden things start to fall into place. We begin to see our place in the vast scheme of things. And as I like to say, music flies out of the dog do. Because it does. At some point, the stuff that used to challenge us becomes our strength. So in conclusion, you are well and wondrously made by the divine intelligence and creativity back of all things. Each one of us, everything and everyone is a part of this spiritual system. Despite the experience of obstacles and adversity, the way of life is always rising, expanding, and evolving. Every part of our journey is useful and necessary for that which Spirit has planned for us and wants to express as you. Nothing is wasted. All is good. And as you rise up into your life's work, Spirit uses you to rise in such a particular way that you can't help but raise others up. This is how we create a world that works for all. And so it is. Well, it's time to follow our teaching, and let's go within and have a prayer right now. So I encourage you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or take a soft focus on something in your virtual reality that takes you deeper. And let's come together and know. So I invite you to bring to the forefront of your consciousness what you believe the power that created you is. You can call it Christ consciousness, Jesus the Christ, Buddha, source energy, great spirit. That's your business. You get to name it. But I think that we can agree that there is a power that is on, that is manifesting as each one of us is unified in this field of all opportunity. And as we are unified and give attention to what we believe, it is activated. I may not know what you're walking through today, but I know that the power within you that created you also created what you're walking through so that you may know something new. So let's grab the pearls of wisdom out of our challenges. Let's come together in knowing that we are not victims of our situation, but we are the victors of our life. We are our best practitioners. And as we begin to practice the awareness of the presence that created each one of us, an answer begins to formulate. A connection begins to be made. A peace begins to wash over each one of us, and a stillness and a calmness in the storm of our situations all of a sudden emerges. And I like to think of it as the calm before the calm. The storm is just an appearance to get our attention. And as we turn away, not to deny that it's happening, but not to feed it any more energy and allow it to persist, we look to the solution. We look to the peace and the calm and the love. And my friends, if we can begin to look for love in every situation, love will wash over. Love will heal. Love will make the connection real. And love is truly why we are all here. So let's give great thanks for responding with love in every situation, remembering that beneath it all, love is the very glue that holds all of this together. And as we turn our attention to God, love, the solution, it turns into us and begins to formulate the healing and the revealing of the truth that we are so desperately seeking at times. So I give great thanks for this healing, for this revealing of the truth. And I release this word directly into the living, loving law of mind, into God, where it is returned to us resplendent and fully orbed as a divine demonstration and a healing and a revealing of our truth. And for this, we are so well grateful as we affirm this together by saying, and so it is. Amen. Well, again, thank you for joining us. It's time for our offertory ideas about sharing this morning. And if we can put up on the screen our offertory idea, which if you'd like to recite this with me, it says, I place my faith in the principle of abundance in action within me and give with an open, giving heart. Once again, I place my faith in the principle of abundance in action within me and give with an open, giving heart. So it is. I want to thank everybody who continues to support this ministry, your ministry, the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living Ministry. We are so grateful that you are here, and we are going to have our annual meeting. If you'd like to just stay on, you can just stay on. We'll start at noon, or you can time out and come back to this same link for our meeting. But we'd really love to have you all stay so that we can have a great meeting and learn about what we've done and where we're going. But we're now going to have a little bit of music. So Chip and Bucky.
If your problems won't go away and you're worried night and day, hand it over, get on your knees and pray. If you got sorrows and you're feeling low, got no money, no place to go, hand it over, get on your knees and pray. Hand it over, give it up, give it over, hand it over, get on your knees and pray. Ain't no mountain you can't climb. Ain't no answer you can't find. All you need is a hand to hold. It'll heal your body and your soul. And if the road is dark and can't find your way, why not let Spirit guide the way? Hand it over, get on your knees and pray.
That was wonderful, Chip and Bucky. Thank you again for your gift of music. We so enjoy having music. Well,
Love playing.
benediction. So please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening right now.
Something wonderful happening right now.
Right now.
It's happening in my mind,
It's
happening in my mind,
in my body,
in my body,
and in the body of my affairs.
in my body, my
affairs.
I think it,
I think it,
I feel it,
I feel it,
and I know it,
I
know it.
just the way that it is,
Just the way it is.
and just the way that it is not.
And
just the way that it is not.
Thank you, life.
Thank you, life.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Blessings, everyone.